Figuring out the settlement value of your personal injury claim and how much your case is worth can be confusing for many people, but it does not have to be. In this video series, you're going to learn 12 key factors that impact the value of your personal injury claim. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Nick. I'm a personal injury lawyer, and on this channel, I normally make videos about law and current events in plain English. But in this video, I wanted to make a follow-up to a video that I did about 11 months ago called 6 Tips for Settling Your Property Damage Claim After a Car Accident. For whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm is now suggesting that video to more and more people. So I'm making this video as a supplement or an add-on to that video. But after I'm done with this series, I am definitely going to return to doing law and current events in plain English. Now, before we dive into the video, let me give a quick disclaimer. This video is not legal advice. It is for educational purposes only. If you've got a personal injury claim or question that relates to your specific situation, then definitely talk to a personal injury lawyer in your state. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Personal injury claims are resolved in one of two ways. They can either be resolved through a settlement or they can be resolved through a verdict at trial. Now, the vast majority of personal injury claims are resolved through a settlement, not a verdict. In fact, I've heard figures thrown out of 95%, and in my experience, that's probably about right. When deciding how much money to offer you for an injury claim, an insurance company will ask itself one simple question. How much money will a jury make me pay the plaintiff if the case goes to trial and we lose? Your settlement value will be some amount that is lower than that because it's going to be discounted by the risk of getting less or nothing at trial and the time that it takes to go to trial and the cost that you would have to incur if you proceeded towards trial. Now, the more information you have and the better you investigate a personal injury claim, the more accurate your prediction or your estimate of the value of your personal injury claim will be. So with that said, let's look at our first factor. Now, in every case that I get that is a car accident or any other kind of personal injury case, the first thing I look for is who is at fault. What is the evidence? So factor number one is evidence of fault. Now, in a car wreck, for example, the insurance company is going to look at things like the police report, statements given by eyewitnesses, statements given by people who were involved in the incident, photos and videos of the scene of the wreck and the damage that was done, and photos of your injuries. Moving on to factor number two, whether or not you were partially at fault for the accident. If you were partially at fault for the accident, then the value of your case will be lower than if you had no fault in the accident, all other things being held equal. In a handful of states, in fact, as well as the District of Columbia, your personal injury claim may be worth nothing if you're even 1% at fault. So this is an extremely harsh rule, and it's called contributory negligence. If you live in a contributory negligence state, then you may be out of luck. You may not have a claim if you were even just 1% at fault. So with that said, cases where you can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you did not do anything to cause the accident in question, that you are 0% at fault, and that the defendant or defendants were 100% at fault, are worth more than cases where there is some shared fault in the accident. So what are some examples of an accident where there is some shared fault, and how does that affect the value of the claim? Well, in a slip and fall case, a grocery store might argue that a plaintiff was partially at fault, maybe 10%, for her slip and fall because she was on TikTok and not looking where she was going when she hit the puddle and fell on the ground. That would be an example of comparative negligence, and the store would still be 90% at fault. She would be 10% at fault, or whatever the jury found to be the case. Now, the next factor that can and will have a major impact on your personal injury claim and how much it is worth is the limits of the applicable insurance policies. The type of accident that you're involved in will determine the type of insurance policy that you will seek to recover from. The different types of policies that may apply to your injuries have different maximum dollar amounts of the damage that you can recover from them. In personal injury lawsuits in Texas, the defendant must disclose the limits of the applicable insurance policies to the plaintiff so that the plaintiff knows how much money they're dealing with, how much is the maximum amount they can recover in most situations. So let's say you're injured in a car accident and you file a personal injury claim with the other driver's car insurance policy. Well, the law in your state probably sets a minimum amount of coverage that the driver must carry if he is using his car and driving on the road. And that's called the policy limit. Texas law, for example, currently requires drivers to have at least $30,000 of coverage for injuries per person, or up to a total of $60,000 per accident if you injure more than one person, and $25,000 of coverage for property damage that you cause. This is called 30, 60, 25 coverage. Employees driving commercial vehicles will usually have a commercial policy with much higher limits. Some drivers are unfortunately out there on the road without any insurance, in which case it can be very hard or virtually impossible to recover anything in cases where you're hit by an uninsured driver, unless you have another insurance policy that covers your injuries, like uninsured motorist coverage. So in most cases, the at-fault driver's policy limit will give you a good idea of the maximum amount that you can recover on your personal injury claim, unless the defendant has deep pockets or there are other insurance policies that may apply. Now, I want to take a quick moment to invite you to become a member of this channel to unlock special perks today, like a members-only live question and answer video with me, personal injury forms, and checklists from my own law firm's library of forms, and more. Just click the link in the description below and select the perks that you're interested in. Now, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn the bell notification icon on. If you haven't done so already, do so right now so you don't miss part 2 of this series. And as always, thank you for watching.